Sampled or non-sampled, as long as it feels good, honestly, that's all that should matter. What's up guys, Barry here, and if it's your first time to the channel, we talk about hip-hop, beat making, and general music production. So if that's your thing, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. With that said, in today's video, I'm going to walk you through a non-sampled hip-hop beat that I made inside a Maschine. I'm going to share with you my mindset, my process, as well as give you a couple tips and tricks that you can add to your production process. I grew up playing the piano, so I often start with some sort of keyed instrument. The beat's tempo is set to 80 BPM and in the key of C. And whether you're starting your beat off with drums, melody, or chords, you just need something to spark that inspiration. For me, this electric piano from Lounge Lizard tends to do the trick. In addition to this electric piano, I also have two additional keyboard sounds. Now it may seem like overkill, but each instrument plays a different role in the beat. Having that piano play that eighth note pattern adds some movement, some bounce, and a rhythmic element to the chords. And lastly, I have an organ sound that just accentuates the chords for some additional texture. And all together, the keys sound like this. When I sample from soul, R&B, and sometimes jazz, and most of the time you'll hear guitars in the background. Although a bit older at this point, Scarby's funk guitarist adds a great rhythmic element to your instrumentation. It basically splits the keyboard up into two sections, the yellow section being the chords, the blue section being the rhythm that it triggers. So if we head into our piano roll and remove the top MIDI notes, we'll hear some guitar scratching, which is essential to funk guitar. And if we reintroduce the top MIDI notes which control those key switches, we'll add some more realism and variation to this guitar part. So one of my goals when making a non-sample based hip hop beat is to make it sound as if it were sampled. And one of the things that I do to get closer to that goal is to layer. So in addition to all the keyboard layers, I layer another guitar playing a similar part to the first one. And similar to the first guitar, with the key switches removed, the guitar part sounds like this. So again, very similar concept, slightly different rhythm, slightly different tone, and with the key switches on, it sounds like this. There's one more guitar part that plays somewhat of a melody, but is tucked really deep into the mix. It's just there to add a little bit more texture to the instrumentation. Balance within your arrangement is super important, and with the keys and guitar already being so busy, I needed the bass to be basic and rooted to maintain that balance. The bass is pretty much only playing the root notes to keep the instrumentation grounded. And to provide some ear candy and to emphasize the chord changes, I add some strings and some bells to finish off the instrumentation to this beat. When I think of boom bap, I think of soul. And when I think of soul, I think of Motown. And what a lot of golden era Motown songs had was an amazing string arrangement. So some straightforward pizzicato strings to add those small layers to get to that larger goal of capturing that boom bap feeling, whether you're making non-sampled or sampled beats. And the last set of layers are from Kontact's Factory Library. They're just a few bells to add that higher frequency to finish off the instrumentation of this beat. Alright guys, so the first video I made in this Boom Bap Basic series is on the drums, so I won't spend too much time in this video on it. Make sure you hit the description for a more detailed overview on Boom Bap drums. But there are some unique things I did specific to this beat. First, let's take a look at the hi-hats. I duplicated it to another pad, pitched it up 12 semitones, shifted the notes so that the pattern is now playing a 16-note hi-hat pattern and it's slightly more panned to the left. That's all in the hopes of getting more movement in the hi-hat. A similar duplication technique was applied to the kick drum, but instead of grabbing all of the MIDI notes, I only grabbed the ghost notes. And that's with the intention of creating variation between the different kicks. I achieved that by changing the type from one shot to ADSR and reducing the sustain and release to get a quicker hit. And with the instrumentation and the drums, the beat sounds like this. Alright guys, so that's a quick breakdown on how I go about making non-sample boom bap beats inside a Maschine. Hopefully there are a few tips and tricks that you can take and apply to your own beats and production. With that said, the next video we're going to take a sample and add our own instrumentation to it to finish off this Boom Bap Basic series. So make sure you're subscribed to get notified as to when that video gets published. With that said, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already, and happy beat making. Peace.